Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of superhero television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about No Time to Die.
It is finally No Time to Die. It's been a year and a half of delays.
Yeah.
We had to cover...
Almost 2, I would say. I'm just rounding it up to 2.
Rounding up to 2. I mean, April 2020 was the original release date.
Okay.
So I'm still gonna say year and a half.
Sure.
But a long time to die. Quite a while to die. And now we're here. And we've done all the
and it's time. And I was wrong. It did come out.
We saw it.
We saw it.
Out.
I very much had little faith that it would actually come out. I thought it was going to get delayed again.
Babe, all signs pointed to delay.
All signs pointed to delay again, but they just needed to get it out there and have it done with at this point. Like, if it had to come out when it came out, we might have announced a new Bond by now. I think at this point they were like,
shit.
I think at this point they're like, we've got to get it out just so we can end it. We've got to start auditioning new actors soon, and we can't do this any longer.
I'm wondering if they already had someone in mind, and now it's been 2 years, and they're like, that guy's too old.
Right.
It's been too long.
Or unavailable, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could easily happen. Hey, that happened with, was that the Brosnan thing? So Brosnan, what was Remington Steele was his American TV show.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't let him out of his contract to play Bond.
Yeah, but I think that might have been like having to do with like they dilly-dallied a little too long and then he signed that contract and then couldn't get out. So like, actors sign different contracts, things get screwed up that way, but I think they actually haven't started the search, but they've definitely have delayed the search because they've not been ready to start production on a new one because this took so long to even get out there. Amazing. So we're talking about No Time to Die today on the podcast. As we do whenever we talk about a new movie or TV show, we are going to give you a spoiler-free review at the beginning here. So we're going to give you a spoiler-free review. Then once you hear the theme music for the podcast, that's when we're going to get into the spoiler-filled section. So for now, you can hang around. You're safe if you're on the fence about seeing the movie, if you're uncertain whether it's worth the trip or worth the time, or if you just want a taste of the episode before you go check it out. Let's give you a quick spoiler-free review. Spoiler-free review. Diana, did you like it?
I didn't like it, and it's breaking my heart because I'm going to give it a didn't like. I did not enjoy myself overall, but I really liked the first half of this movie. The first half of this movie, I was having a great time. The action was pretty good. Anna de Armas is great. Jeffrey Wright's great. Bond's doing great. Q's being a cutie. I'm like, this movie's great. What are people talking about? And then halfway through this movie, there's a moment that makes it suck. And then it always sucks. And then it sucks for an hour and a half. And then it's too long. And the villain's plot gets really murky. And his goals and what he wants is really murky. And the action's not nearly as good. And the movie thinks I care about things I do not care about. There's no tension in like the final fights of what's happening. It's poorly constructed. So like the first half, real fun. And then the second half is just the death knell of James Bond. It's awful. So yeah, so bad that like it ruined the first half. So yeah, really didn't enjoy it overall. Maybe someday I'll just watch the first half again and turn it off and be like, what a great final Daniel Craig James Bond movie. But yeah, that's me. Andrew, did you like it?
I liked it. I liked it fine. I didn't love it. I liked it fine. I think that this is the exact mid-tier James Bond movie. I think that both Casino Royale and Skyfall are better. Quantum of Solace and Spectre are worse. And this is the exact middle of the road Daniel Craig James Bond movie. So it fits right there in the middle. It's okay. It's fine. I agree with you. It is two movies. It is distinctly and visibly two completely different movies with totally different tones and completely different themes that is mashed into one movie. And I also agree with you. The first movie that we see is far superior. Like the first movie within this on its own is like a top tier. It doesn't beat Casino Royale, but might have topped Skyfall for me. Like the first half of this movie is the first movie of this movie is a great movie.
And it's long enough to just be a movie.
Yes.
We could just stop and be like, that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
And it loses all momentum and steam and then just kind of teeters off towards the end. So I agree with you. It's two movies in one. The first movie is very good. I think I liked it a bit more than you because I liked that first movie within a movie enough that it carried the energy and momentum forward for me a little bit more. And I think that like one of the downsides of this movie is that, you know, I don't think it's much of a spoiler because it's continuing from the trailers, but we see the return of Madeline, and we're continuing the plots of the previous movie. And Spectre was trash. Spectre was a bad movie. So this almost feels like it's like, it might have been good on its own, but it is really trying to carry the momentum and characters of one of the worst Daniel Craig Bond movies. So like they're kind of stuck with a lot of trash to clean up, and that bogs it down a little bit. Whereas everything that this movie does that's fresh, that is from scratch and doesn't reference Spectre, it actually works pretty damn well. So I'd say that like I like a lot of this movie, and I think one of its biggest flaws might be the fact that it follows Spectre as a movie.
Ooh, I will half disagree, but I can't disagree fully till we get into spoilers. So
That's fair.
I think there are pros to it being a direct sequel and definite cons to it being a direct sequel.
Okay,
but
okay.
And I don't know, because the first half I think is part of the direct sequelness that I really like.
Okay.
But then the second half is really a part of the direct sequelness that I don't like. So it's tough.
I will say that if you're on the fence about seeing it, the action is very good.
Action's all right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like, I guess maybe because it's so long, it didn't seem like there was a lot of great action. Like I can name 3 great action pieces that I enjoyed. So I guess that's quite a bit for one movie.
Right,
But like,
right.
There's just so much talking.
Yeah.
That it didn't feel like I'm like, this is a great action movie.
I would say that the reason that I give the action a big bonus and credit is that unlike a Skyfall, or not Skyfall, unlike Spectre, where when we reviewed Spectre, it was like we had a tough time, or I had a tough time remembering some of the action scenes. And I wanted Spectre to be shorter. I needed some stuff to be cut, and stuff could be cut because the action, even in those sections, was either non-existent or bad. In this movie, there are entire storylines that I would like cut, but each of them come with a great action scene that I don't want to lose. So I'd say that is definitely one of the strengths of this movie, is that nothing is as huge and iconic as like the opening section of Casino Royale or anything like that, or the home invasion scene from Skyfall. Nothing is as like wild a set piece as that, but all of it is really good.
Yeah, I got no problems with the action. The movie's too long.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
the movie's way too long.
To say that there are 3 that I remember very clearly as being really good is quite a feat.
Yeah, I think so.
So good action.
Yeah, good action, too long, 2 different movies.
Can it be spoiled?
And we like one of the movies in there. And can it be spoiled? I think it can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This movie can be spoiled. It's got a couple things.
Couple of twists, couple of turns, couple of typical James Bond stuff.
Typical James Bond stuff, but also some atypical James Bond stuff, I would say.
Ooh, you think so, huh?
I think this is an atypical Bond.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, it can be spoiled.
It can be spoiled.
It can be spoiled if you care about the twists and turns of a spy movie.
And should people see it, I guess? Was that one of our questions?
No, we've never asked that.
Well, never mind. Decide for yourself, people.
I mean, we kind of loosely answer / ask that when we ask each other if we liked it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I've lost track of what we do.
You don't even know what we do anymore.
I mean, there's just so much James Bond in my head.
Okay, there's a lot.
I've forgotten what we do.
There's a lot dancing around up there. All right, well, that's our spoiler-free review for No Time to Die, where a like to lower tier not like to a mid-tier not like, I'd say, is what you're at. So
yeah, I'm at a mid-tier not like. First half's so good.
First half so good. All right, well, we're going to go into these, before we go into the spoiler-filled section, we want to thank our first sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Batman: The Audio Adventures.
Bruce Wayne may appear to be a wealthy playboy, but beneath this facade, his true identity is that of the Batman, waging an endless war against crime. Join the Cape Crusader in Batman: The Audio Adventures, the first scripted audio original featuring Batman and his villainous rogues gallery in a world premiere story of life and death in Gotham City, debuting exclusively on HBO Max.
Starring Jeffrey Wright as Batman and a who's who of incredible Saturday Night Live alums, this rollicking adventure told across 10 episodes is written and directed by Emmy winner Dennis McNicholas. It includes devilishly delightful original music by Doug Bossy and performances by Rosario Dawson, John Leguizamo, Chris Parnell, Melissa Villaseñor, Seth Meyers, Jason Sudeikis, Brooke Shields, Fred Armisen, and many, many more, go to hbomax.com/Batman Audio Adventures for more and stream Batman The Audio Adventures only on HBO Max. And thank you, Batman The Audio Adventures, for your support of this podcast.
Thank you, Batman.
Thank you, Batman. And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk about No Time to Die. All right, so we have seen No Time to Die. We are in the spoiler-filled section. Yeah, that first movie of these two movies is really good. We're just going to refer to it as two movies.
It's absolutely two movies, because pretty much Rami Malek's not in the first movie. Kind of his presence is felt.
Like, I think that they add a flashback to imply his presence in the first 2 hours of this movie, which he's not even fucking, like, he is in, and I know we've had this complaint before on the podcast about different films, where it's like, it's two movies, or it's two scripts stuck together. This is hard. Like, Rami Malek as Saffron. Saffron?
Safine.
Safine. So Rami Malek as Safine.
Lucifer. Safine.
Lucifer. Not legally not Lucifer.
Did you say Lucifer?
Lucifer?
Safine?
Yes. No. Yeah.
So not quite Lucifer. Not quite Satan.
I'm
Lucifer Safine.
Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Lucifer. And not saffron. Not saffron. Not the flowers. Saffron? Lucifer. Rami Malek's character is not in the first 2 hours, except for this opening scene, which is a flashback scene for Madeline, which is like kind of cool, but it's like James Bond isn't in it, and then it doesn't. Like, we have an opening sequence that James Bond isn't in.
I don't want to tell you how to do your movie, James Bond people, but you're gonna put some James Bond in your James Bond movie?
They put in a villain and a love interest in this big opening sequence. And then we see neither of them for 2 hours. They're both fucking gone. This opening sequence is a teaser for the next movie that happens 2 hours from now, which is an insanely stupid thing to do. And it feels like a rewrite or a reshoot or something for them to be like, oh my God, we fucked up. We did not put a villain in the first half of this movie at all, or the villain we wanted, or whatever is going on here, because that is a mess of a start.
I disagree, actually. The second movie is terrible. I think this is actually a great setup of how Madeline knows this main villain. I think the scene itself actually has a lot of tension. I was like on edge. I was like, oh, this is like, they talked about this inspector, how she killed a guy, how she shot a guy who like did a home invasion and killed her mom. Like, this has been set up. I think this is a really great setup for a villain who doesn't work later.
Right.
So, like, it is an action piece. It's interesting. I was enthralled. The mask is really cool and scary. I actually like this as an opening. But, like, then it's really unclear, like, what the relationship is later. What happened after he pulled her out? Like, I was like, oh, do you work for him? Like, are you have you known him your whole life? Or, like, what happened in the next moments is kind of important, and they cut away.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't build off this opening in any way that works, but I actually think it makes me think something's good going to happen, and I think it works on its own.
I agree with you. Self-contained, it does work. It is well shot. It is tense. It is scary. That mask, which they never establish why for 1 year of his life this villain wore a mask, and then never again.
Not anymore.
Never again. Just this month, it was a style thing he was trying out. But
he was very young, I will say, because he's only 4 years older than Léa Seydoux.
Yeah.
And like his family gets killed when he's very young. So I think he's like just trying stuff.
He's like, am I this type of villain?
He's in his mask phase.
He's not,
know?
And he's like, I'm not the mask villain.
And then it's 20 years later, he's like, that was my mask phase.
I'm not the mask guy.
I'm sorry, that's the emo version of being a villain.
But it is haunting and scary. The mask works as a visual. I agree with you. It's tense. It's frightening. It's emotional. Like, it's well shot. If you just showed me like that as a teaser for this movie, I'd be like, I fucking like this villain. I like what this movie is doing. And it just doesn't work because it doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong maybe even in this movie. if it went right from that scene to 2 hours into the movie when Rami Malek's villain actually shows up, maybe that momentum would carry over. I agree with you. Works in a vacuum, but my main complaint is that it shouldn't be where it is or why it is there.
It does make it seem like this will be a movie about Madeline. And not that it's not about her, because like she's a big part of James's life, but it is a James Bond movie.
And they also get rid of Madeline for a while.
They get rid of Madeline for like 2 hours. So yeah, it is absolutely not a Madeline movie. It's not her story. I mean, she is the one who, spoiler, she's the one who lives at the end and continues on. But this isn't like part of it.
No.
So yeah, like maybe as like a mid-tier flashback when she is explaining to James how she knows this guy, it would work better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't make me think I'm watching the Madeline Swan movie featuring James Bond.
Yeah.
It's a James Bond movie featuring Madeline Swan.
Yeah, that's right.
Although I do feel like movies that start with the villain are usually better villain stories, but it didn't work here though. They found a way to not make that work.
Yeah, it just doesn't function because he is. I would say that like Rami Malek's performance and this villain in the second half of the movie, which he isn't even the biggest problem with the second half of the movie, and we can kind of delve more into Madeline later on and that whole section of the storyline. But I think he is a very middle of the road Bond villain. Like he is just a very generic, not even Daniel Craig, but just Bond over the years. He is a very generic, hello, Mr. Bond, I have a poison flower. Take over the world, question mark? Like, it's a very, like, whatever, dude.
First step, kill. Second step, question mark. Third step, profits?
Third step, profits. To the point when, even when they're discussing, like, he's got the plan to kill Spectre, which he enacts. And then after that's done, when they're talking about, like, what's he going to do with the weapon next? Bond even has the line where he's like, either mind control, global domination, a war, I don't know, but he shouldn't have it. Like, they honestly have no idea what the villain's motivations are or why he's doing these things or what the goal is or why it's evil. And I'm saying, like, for sure it is evil, but the heroes don't know and they don't even care to find out. And that's fine. But it's a very middle of the road villain.
The heroes don't know, and Rami Malek doesn't know.
No, has no idea.
Rami Malek is like, I fucking love killing people, and I'm gonna. But, man, I just haven't decided who yet. I don't know who it's gonna be. Maybe this child, but not necessarily. I might just let her go.
Maybe? Question mark?
Maybe some specific people still haven't decided. I don't know what I want now that Spectre's dead. He is a villain who's lost. I think after he killed Spectre, he was like, I actually don't know what I want now.
He should have Thanos'd into the night. Like, she should be a dude who's like, I said I was going to do a thing. I did a thing. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir. And he kind of does, actually, because this is too far in, but like just briefly I will say, like James shows up and he's like, well, let's just leave. And he just leaves and he doesn't take any poisons.
Right.
And he's just like, I'm just going to leave Poison Island and I'm good.
Here's something I realized right before we recorded that drove me bananas about this character. So his character, he lives on a place called Poison Island.
Oh, yeah. He
grew loves
up there.
Poisons.
Grew up there. Loves poisons.
Loves
Has
poisons.
So many
Poisons are fucking
poisons.
everywhere. All of his henchmen look like they're like they work for AIM in the comic books. Like they're all wearing head-to-toe hazmat suits because there's everywhere here is poison. There's poison flowers, poison gardens, poison sand, poison water.
He is the poison ivy of Bond villains.
He's
everything here will kill you.
Super poison. And this dude knows poison so well. All about it.
Fucking loves poison.
Never poisons anyone once this entire movie.
No one gets poisoned.
No one gets
I
poisoned.
also have this note. And his plans don't involve poison? He's like, oh man, I love poison, but this thing the British government made, so much better than poison.
Yes. He's like, nothing is better than poison. Then he steals a DNA murdering nanomachines from the British government. And he enacts his plans with that, and then sells that, and then distributes that from Poison Island as the poison guy.
He doesn't even kill Madeline's mom with poison. He uses a gun.
Uses a gun.
He uses a bullet.
Uses an actual gun.
So he kills with bullets and technology. But you show up at his island, he's like, but I love poison.
I'm the poison villain. I want everyone to, like, I guess you do really get to write your own story in this world, you know? He decided he's the poison guy, and everyone's like, you've got to respect that. Who cares what he physically does? He's the poison guy.
He didn't want to get typecast as one thing. He's like, I don't want to be the nanopot guy. I don't want to be the bullets guy. or the poison guy. I'll be all three. But when you come into my island, it is Poison Island.
Yes. Yeah.
If you come here, many, many poisons.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
No, the only person I think who dies of poison is just that like one scientist that
Some henchman.
Lashawna Lynch throws
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Some random lower tier henchmen who like fall in poison. But like, I wouldn't say if someone falls in poison,
That's not a poison.
I would never be like, that person's been poisoned. I'd be like, that fucker's dead.
That guy died.
Has been murdered, maybe, if they've been pushed in poison. But that's not, we all know what a poisoning is. A poisoning is stealthy. Who did it? It was in your drink, or like it was a kiss of death. It's not, oops, I fell in poison. I've been poisoned.
Oh no, vats of poison, like acid in Gotham.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that guy died of like a poisoning at all. It doesn't, and he's not even like given like a history. Like they don't like pull up his file and find his name out, and they're like, oh my god, this guy's poisoned 400 people in the past, and now he's moved on to nanotechnology because it's more precise or something. They just never bring it up. He doesn't seem to want to use it. Maybe he loves poison so much that he's like, it's precious and I do not put it in people. It cannot be wasted.
Right. Yeah.
I just hoard it all like a dragon here on Poison Island.
You know, sometimes it's good to have a hobby that you don't turn into your job or profession.
You don't want to monetize every hobby.
Exactly. We live in an age now where everyone's trying to have a side hustle and we're all trying to follow our dreams, but you do also want to have a passion that's just for you.
You don't want to be Lucifer Safine and be like, check out my Patreon for more poisons.
Yeah.
I've really got some great new poisons up at the $10 level.
You want to sell stolen nanotech and then go home and unwind with some poisons.
Some nice poisons. We figured it out.
An idiotic character.
I'm happy for him that he's got his relaxing poisons that he does not use in his data, but he has like 50 million employees harvesting constantly.
I think the implication is he's given his employees the mind control poison.
Oh, we gotta talk about the mind control poison.
The implication. Let's just get right into the mind. Let's get everything with Lucifer. Lucifer Saffron. Did you say Lucifer Saffron? No, it's Lucifer Saffron. Let's get everything with Lucifer Saffron out of the way.
The fact that everyone always mumbles his name, because I think Madeline says his name the most in that really soft French accent.
Yeah.
So it's always like, Lucifer Saffron. His name is Lucifer Saffron. And you're like, what? Lucifer? What? Rami Malek. Lucifer Saffron. So he has an implication of a mind control drug that we never actually see used.
Yes, correct.
Which I hate so much. Because you're already the poison guy and the nanobot guy and the bullet guy. And then you're like, I've also got mind control tea.
Now you're the mind control guy.
Why did you need anything if you have mind control tea? You could put tea in you're going after British people. All they drink is tea.
You're also...
Tee up those Brits.
You're also the private island personal nation with missile silos guy. Like, you can also just launch missile strikes on other countries.
This guy is 15 Bond villains in one.
Yeah.
He's got way too much shit going on. But yeah, the very late movie reveal that he also has a mind control tea that we have no indication has successfully been used. Like, you could imply, as you said, that it's being used on all these followers of his. But like, that scientist guy seems to genuinely follow him, and the Cyclops guy seems like he genuinely followed him. Like, we don't have any indication of what you're like on mind control. Like, are you the same, or are you like a zombie? Because she doesn't drink it, so we don't see if it even works. It is the wildest, most out of left field thing to be an implication of having that we never see used in a Bond movie.
If you delete the one scene where she mentions, like, hey, this is a mind control drug, nothing is lost. There's no other implication of it throughout the movie. Like, it's just one line that actively makes the movie worse and weirder.
Yeah, because now he's the guy who has mind control and isn't using it.
Yeah. It doesn't make Bond use it to turn him into an inside man. Like, doesn't know who or when to use mind control on.
This is a lost villain. He has no focus. He's doing too much.
Yep.
He's overwhelmed. Yeah. The mind control tea made me lose my mind. Oh, it also burns your eyes out. And Madeline knew this. Because she's like, it burns you, because she throws it on Cyclops. He's like, it would be a shame to lose your good eye. And she throws it in his face.
I think that was just because it was a hot tea. I think
Just
that was
'cause
meant
it
to
was
be a
hot?
joke.
Oh,
I think that was.
okay.
I think that was meant to
Madeline,
be a joke.
French humor's weird.
French,
Madeline, I don't get it.
it's too much of a thinker, Madeline. Madeline.
Too much of a thinker. Just throw some hot water in his face.
Okay, all right. I think I've got everything about Lucifer Sifrin out of my system that I wanted to get out of my system. We feel good about Lucifer Sifrin?
This is already the funniest podcast we've ever done because we just keep saying Lucifer.
Lucifer
and
Sifrin.
It's never not funny.
Rami Malek deserves better.
I actually think he does an okay performance.
Oh, he does everything he can with this role.
It's
Nothing but
cool,
credit,
and
nothing
it's-
but respect to
Yeah,
Rami Malek.
It's like memorable and cool and interesting, and he's made some like choices that I totally get on board with.
Yeah, 100%.
I think he's doing a very good job with a villain who is so unfocused and has no goals and is so cloudy. Like, does he want Madeline and the kid? Does he want world domination? Does he want to kill James Bond? Does he want to kill one single ethnicity as implied earlier? Like, he has no idea what he wants. So that's a really hard character to portray. You do not know what your goals are.
But he does a really good job of it. Yeah, like I think that there are aspects of his personality, as much as his plan, like the exposition of the film is murky and unclear. I think that Rami Malek has a good understanding of who he is, like in these human moments from scene to scene.
Yeah, I will agree. I actually think there's like no bad performances in this though. I actually feel like even things have been.
I think there are miscastings, but no bad performances.
Miscastings, okay? Because I will say, I even think people that I did not enjoy in Spectre are better here. Like I think Madeline's way better here, even though I don't think this romance works. I like Léa Seydoux way more in this. He only gets one scene, but I'm like, Christoph Waltz is way better in this than he was
fully
in Spectre.
agree. Fully
he
agree.
only gets that one scene, but you're like, oh no, this is charming and fun and evil. Like you can feel it. Like you had terrible direction in Spectre on these actors.
Yeah.
And I think we even said that in the day, because we're like, every actor is not crushing it in Spectre.
Because I remember in Spectre, I had to defend Léa Seydoux.
You did, and I was too harsh on her because she is good in this.
Yeah, I agree. And in this one, she's as good as she was in Spectre, but she does have a better script to work with. I do think she is the one who is miscast. Just because in this one, I get a better understanding of who her character is, which is a little bit more someone who suffered trauma but is now powerful and self-assured and is like in control of her own life and needs James to get his shit together. And I really like that, and I like that writing. And I think that Léa Seydoux is just this type of actor who needs to exist in indie dramas and just cannot exist in a big budget movie. Like some actors can walk both lines to be like, I am the ethereal, conceptual indie movie person, and I can also work in a blockbuster. Some people are Tilda Swinton. Some people are even Ana de Armas, who is in this. I think is someone who can pull off whisper acting indie film and a big budget blockbuster movie. And Léa Seydoux, for as phenomenal an actress she is, it feels like someone who's like painted with watercolors in a world that's painted in oil. Like it does not blend or make sense when she's giving a great performance, but she's like looking at her feet and whispering poetry into her armpit. And then it'll like cut back to Daniel Craig as James Bond, who's like, the island exists in a disputed area of water between Russia and Japan. And then she'll like whisper into her own chest to be like, what do tears mean? And like, it's like, okay, but that, and you're giving a great performance, but that doesn't belong alongside this. Whereas in this movie, I get the sense, the writing of the character, I'm like, this feels very much like Vesper. Like this is a strong, self-assured, powerful person. And this performance is great, but this is a performance that belongs as a one-off and isn't a Vesper type. Does that make sense?
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, she is a good actress who doesn't fit into the action scenes. She fits into the love scenes and the quiet scenes very well of like, you don't know what this is, James. You have no idea what's happening. Like the secret parts where it's like there's secrets and there's mystery and I'm French. But like when you get to like scenes where she's supposed to be like, this is an action scene and I'm trying to save my daughter, you just don't feel it.
No.
Or if you're like, there's politics involved in this complicated thing, she's like, but Nietzsche said that there are no politics. and the rain is soft on my face.
That is ethereal, conceptual.
She doesn't fit
wonderful.
in the grounded parts.
Yeah, cannot deliver dry exposition particularly well.
Because when that whole scene where she's explaining who Lucifer Safin is like, it doesn't fit her character.
Yeah.
But I do like what you're saying about like she is a woman who is written with her shit together, because James Bond even throws her on a train and then he disappears from society and she's like, and then I went and got a regular job doing psychiatry because that's what I was trained in, and I raised my daughter and I don't need you, James. I could have found you because I was working for MI6. I knew where you were.
I have money. I interview well. I'm well educated. Everything's going to be just
her
fine.
life is together and that's cool, and like she's willing to shoot guys to save her daughter and like she's trained.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. She's not quite cast right, but the character on paper is actually I will say in this whole movie, all the women kind of rock.
Yeah.
Like Lashawna Lynch rocks.
Yeah.
She's a full 00. Anna de Armas fucking kills.
Goddamn.
Are we
beats
done?
ass.
Are we done on Leah Seydoux? Because I'd love to go to Anna de Armas.
Yeah, I think I'm done on Leah Seydoux. That was it. It's just a lot of whispers, tough time delivering exposition. A phenomenal actor who I think wants to know the meaning of every line and scene, and some scenes don't have a meaning. And
she
it's not what
definitely does script work.
it's not. It's not what actors want to hear. But when you're doing an indie film, and like someone like Leah Seydoux is like, what does it mean that my character loves this book more than anything in the world? And it's like, okay, you can get into that with the director. But when like she's on a James Bond movie and it's like, what does this line mean to my character? And a director has to be like, in this line, you say that the MiG attack helicopter can fire 4 missiles per second. And she has to be like, well, what does that mean in the heart? And you're an actor's actor, and it's beautiful, and you're great. But yeah, I'm. That's it. That's it for me and Leah Seydoux.
One more thing.
Okay.
Not even about her. I will say I haven't checked who this is, and I wonder if they're related to her. The casting of young Madeline looked exactly like her.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was one of the most spot-on kid castings I've ever seen. It makes me wonder if that's her real daughter. I can't find her name on IMDb.
Okay.
But wow.
Well, yeah, I agree.
When they did the flashback, I'm like, well, that's young Madeline.
Yeah,
right there.
They shrunk Leah Seydoux.
Yeah, they did. They used the Hobbit shrink technology because she's got that really young face.
It's all perspective work. It's just really big tables and stuff that they put next to her, like the Hobbit.
Mm-hmm. They had to get like a really big Digimon game. Pokemon.
Tamagotchi? I think it was a Tamagotchi.
Yeah,
I think it was a Tamagotchi.
Sorry, not a Digimon. Yeah. Tamagotchi.
Yeah, damn hungry ass Tamagotchi getting people killed.
The fact that even that was like part of it was very indie Leah Seydoux. Like the Tamagotchi is a reflection of her mom being depressed and hungry.
Yeah.
That was right off the top.
Yeah, that was a French independent film.
Yeah, an indie person on it. They hired an indie film director to do this opening part for sure.
All right. Ana de Armas.
Oh my God, she's great.
Slaps. Absolutely slaps.
Bumbling competency is rare, hard to do, and rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like the nervous rookie who actually rocks but isn't full of herself and is like just like, this is fun.
This is a great time.
I'm having so much fun. I do not have sex with James Bond and I do not die, but James still likes me. I'm like, this is the perfect character. I'm so mad when Madeline comes back because Ana de Armas is amazing. Her fight scene is one of my favorite ones in the whole movie. Like when she like kicks a guy with a stiletto, I'm like, ow, stilettos would hurt.
Yeah.
And then she does this like cool like spin on the ground where she shoots 3 guys. She's amazing.
Unbelievable. And like some of it is there's a few moments where I'm like, wow, Ana de Armas actually like learned this choreography and did it and slaps. And then there are like a couple of moments where I'm like, oh, we just switched to a stunt person. But I don't care because I'm like, the actor got you as an actor learned enough to lend legitimacy to this character and then passed it over to a stunt person. And that's completely fine.
Absolutely.
Not everyone needs to be like Keanu Reeves or like, Tom Cruise or like breaking ribs and going nuts, but do a couple things really well, step aside, let the stunt people do what they do. And it looks gorgeous. It's well shot. That whole section in Cuba is beautiful and cool and fun. And yeah, she just rules as a character, someone who is new and unsure, but might have been an act as well.
Yeah, like she was like kind of playing James, like Felix, because Felix knows James. So I feel like even Felix might have been like, pretend you're new and see what he does.
Yeah.
Just to fuck with James a little, because Felix would do that.
Or she might have been new as a spy, but used to be a soldier. Like, because she was incredibly competent at fighting and shooting.
But not at spying.
Like, but that could have been an act, or she could have been new at spying and an army person, because they even have the line where James says to her, where he's like, "You've only had 3 weeks training, huh?" And she's like, "Well, something along those lines." And we never really dive into it, and that kind of gets into the first section of the movie, that first movie within a movie. Mm-hmm. The theme is we all have our secrets. And Felix even says it. He says it to James, like they're going through that scene in, I forget where it is, either Italy or Greece, where everyone's like burning their secrets.
Oh,
and
that's a really nice like way to show the theme there.
Love it. And they're like, that's the theme. It is the secrets that you need to unburden yourself of or let yourself go of. And Madeline is like letting go of hers, and James is attempting to let go of his, but his won't let him go.
It literally blows up in his face.
Yeah. So like I love that. And then Felix even says it to him. He's like, we all have our secrets. And then Ana de Armas' character, who I forget the name of, I'd have to look it up, but
Palmera, what are you called?
Paloma.
Paloma
is someone who is also mysterious and clearly has a background that she is not forthcoming with. And she has her secrets. And I love that as a continuing theme of this first movie. It works really well, and really well for her character.
Yeah, it works. Oh my God, she was so much fun. Stopping the fight to have a drink. In this very like flirtatious but fun, but also like we're a little thirsty because we just killed a bunch of dudes kind of way. Like my heart sunk when she didn't go any further in the film. Like just this one scene, but yay to have like a fun Bond girl who doesn't die or have sex with James Bond. That's actually kind of dope.
Yeah. And I think they do that in Quantum of Solace as well.
No, because it's that like young new spy who sleeps with him immediately and then gets killed.
In Quantum of Solace?
Yeah.
What about the woman at the end who gets her revenge on the general?
Oh, I mean, like, there's always two Bond girls.
Oh, okay.
Because there's always, like in Spectre, it was, the woman whose husband died, and she was very beautiful.
Yeah.
But she, like, has sex with James, but then she doesn't die, actually, so that's
Yeah.
But yeah, the women in this are quite strong and good, which I liked. Yeah, Madeline's great, Lashawna Lynch is great, Ana de Armas fucking killing it.
And Ana de Armas has been such a pivotal position of, like, the advertising campaign for this. I thought she was going to be in more of it. Like, the ads for this movie are like, hey, it's James Bond and Léa Seydoux, but also Ana de Armas. Whoa, look out. I'm like, okay, here we go.
I actually get that, though, even if she's not in it a lot, because you hype up who's big right now. Like, Knives Out was huge. She was dating Ben Affleck, not anymore.
Right.
Oh, controversy.
But you're in the press. People are talking about you.
No one's talking about Léa Seydoux.
Right.
And also, she's the only one who wears a ball gown. There's no scene where Léa Seydoux's in like a sexy ball gown, and that's kind of also like the classic Bond. Like,
fair enough.
There's no tuxedo scene with Léa Seydoux.
Okay.
You gotta, and she's got like such a big dip in her chest on that dress.
It's a beautiful dress.
Another reason I will say she couldn't do all of her own stunts. That dress absolutely would not allow it. Like,
right.
Like there is, when you can put a tux on and like have padding underneath and whatever, like maybe Daniel Craig can do his own stunts. When you can't wear padding, you absolutely have to give that over to a stunt woman.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's so interesting when you like, if our listeners, if you like look up interviews with stunt women, that is like a common thing of the industry.
Their job
is
is so much more dangerous.
Because they can't hide padding. Whereas like, there's back pads for like falls downstairs and stuff that most male stunt people, or, if you happen to be lucky enough to be stunting for a female cast member who's fully clothed, you can hide it. But for the most part, you can't hide pads, so you've just got to take the hit. And that is brutal. Stunt women are the toughest fuckers working in the film industry. Like the shit they have to go through to double the people that they have to double in the costumes that they have to double it in.
In the shoes they have to wear.
Yeah.
Mad respect.
Mad respect. All right, well, let's take a quick break in the podcast to thank another wonderful sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at NordVPN.
Someone else we have mad respect for, because your NordVPN is like a cyber Swiss Army knife for your computer. It's going to protect you in multiple ways and also serves many other functions like getting stuff from other countries that you can't normally access.
Yeah.
It's tons of fun.
It's so easy. It's the click of a button. You can install it on a bunch of different devices. Like I have it on my Mac, I have it on my Windows, I've got it on my Android phone, and on all of these devices, I've installed the app. I sign in, and then if I want to turn on the VPN, I just click a country. It's one button. It's super easy. It's foolproof. I've never screwed it up. And I've screwed a lot of things up technologically, but I've never screwed this up.
I've also never screwed it up, and I'm way less good than you at technology. And I also understand it. Well, I don't understand it, but I understand how to use the app.
Right.
I'm like, the algorithms, who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
But the app I know how to use very easily. One login will get you all 6 device uses, which is huge. You're protected everywhere with one subscription.
Yeah, it's going to hide where it is that that your internet signal is going to be coming from, so that when information is sent via online, it's going to seem like it is coming from a different IP address, which helps hide who you are, add additional privacy and security to your online browsing. And as Diana mentioned, if you have wherever you are in the world, if there's certain regional locks, sometimes this will allow you to go around that. So sometimes there are things that I might not be able to view because I'm here in Canada, but I need to be able to view it from another country, and this is going to help me look at that.
Yeah, thank you, Nord, because it's cold here and we need more content.
It does.
We need things to watch.
It's cold and we need content, and we just need to sometimes just make sure things work. Like in the podcast business, sometimes we have advertisers that can only ship or function in certain countries, and we need to check things before we read the ads, and the only way to do that is to turn on the VPN, go to that country, and experience it how it's supposed to be without being redirected to the Canadian version of whatever is going on.
And here's a fun behind the scenes. Pandora is only available in the States. I can only check our numbers and our uploads are working with a VPN.
Yeah.
So to make sure a giant processor of our podcast is working, I need a VPN.
We need it for business reasons, but then we also use it for privacy, and we also use it for entertainment. So it's fantastic. So go to nordvpn.com/TFS or use code TFS to get 73% off your 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months for free. Be quick because this offer is for a limited time only. So once again, go to nordvpn.com/TFS, promo code TFS. 73% off a 2-year plan, 4 bonus months. And thank you, NordVPN, for your support.
Thank you so much, Nord.
And now let's get back to No Time to Die. So we love Ana de Armas. We love the whole first movie for the most part. Like this, the grave section, that opening action scene. I know we're backtracking now. That is amazing. I love that.
I really loved that. I loved this idea of, and I like that this revealed to be a thing that Blofeld had set up years ago. I love the idea of putting a bomb in your enemy's lover's grave because you're like, they're going to show up sometime. It's such a cool way to attack your enemy. So first off, that's great. But then the entire chase/fight scene is incredible. I'm haunted by the part where he just lets the car get riddled with bullets to try to tell if Madeline betrayed him.
Yeah.
That part is so cool. Him just being crazy confident that this car is as bulletproof as Q said.
And seeing how long until she rattles.
Yeah. But also I feel like he was watching because the Spectre guys were aiming at her. The bullets were going towards her window more than his, which I thought would have swayed him into she is not betraying me right now.
I thought that was also the test, that in that moment, James Bond, who, is a spy and a smart guy. He's not necessarily a detective, but he deduces things on his own. You think he would be like, they're aiming for you and not me.
They are super aiming directly at your window.
So why would you be the one betraying me in this scenario?
The car isn't moving right now. They can fire at any window they want, and they're aiming at you. So this isn't a betrayal. This is a Spectre trying to kill my love. But he doesn't seem to want to acknowledge that in any way, which is very weird. But the scene itself is super cool.
Yeah.
And the whole fight scene, when he's getting away on the bike and he has to swerve off that huge jump, I was like, ah!
and looked amazing. Yeah, the bike stunts were very impressive.
The bike stunts were fun. It really used the buttons in the car in like a grounded, fun way. Like there was no like ejector seat ridiculousness, but I'm like, yeah, you make some smoke. You got guns.
Yeah,
it's
you
guns
got those little
little explodey balls.
Little explodey balls, those little tack balls or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those were all out. And I think that was supposed to be the car that I think Connery uses in a movie as well. That's supposed to be like a callback to a previous vehicle, which is why it has the tactile buttons as well.
That makes sense. I mean, it's also the one, doesn't he steal that at the end of the last movie?
I can't recall.
I think he does.
Perhaps.
I think he like leaves a bottle of champagne for Q and he's like, my car.
Oh, that's the one that he took. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah. But yeah, great action scene there. Yeah.
That one's a really great action scene. I think Ana de Armas' action scene is really, really good. And then if we're on action scenes, the third one that is great in the bad second movie is the hallway fight.
The hallway stairwell. Going up the stairwell is really well done.
Yeah, a really like kind of like a fake one shot, but like exhausting, loud gunfight with one man taking down an entire stairwell. It was really cool. That one was dope.
Yeah. And I would say, too, the one thing that I do want to draw attention to in the Cuba action scene, so Lashawna Lynch as the new 007. In that action scene, I really like how they make her James from Casino Royale at one point. So one thing that they do is she's trying to get that the scientist guy or whatever.
Yeah.
James and Ana de Armas, they get the scientist guy, they take off, and now new 007 is like left as all the cops show up and are pointing guns at her, and she's trapped and cornered and nowhere to go. And she shoots a transformer which explodes and then disappears, which is what happens at the Nigerian embassy in Casino Royale in James's first action scene.
Oh yeah.
Is that he's trying to capture a guy and gets cornered by all of the police and shoots, I think it might have been a gas tank or a transformer, but explodes, and as everyone goes to like shield themselves, and then they look back and 007 is gone. So this immediate core competency that they give her in this first action scene to be like, this is a younger agent, but this is an agent as capable as James, maybe less reckless, but also gets backed into a corner and knows how to get out of it as well. Like, I really liked that as a small and subtle parallel with her to James.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, the only other parallel that came to mind was James flying like the really old plane, and she got to be the one who flew the new plane.
Yeah.
Because when James like takes off on that really old plane, he's like, "Ooh, this is old, but I know how to fly it." And then he like doesn't know how to fly that new one when they like the one that turns into a sub. Also very cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, I got this." And so they are paralleled, but she's clearly like the new generation who knows how to fly this plane.
Yeah.
Like he knew how to like run a 1950s missile silo, and
right.
I don't think she would have known how. They are genuinely different generations of the same person.
Well, this also parallel line of like, this is an old Cold War missile silo, and he's referred to as by the original Moneypenny as a relic of the Cold War. And I think Q even says that about this missile silo, that it's a relic of the Cold War, which is why James and me, that was brilliant writing. I liked that. I liked that as a parallel too.
That's a fun parallel, and was also like one of the only like laughs. I mean, Q had the only laughs in the second half of the movie.
Yeah.
I think.
I know you wanted more Q.
I actually think that was like that was more Q than we've gotten. I think. I mean, I always want more Q,
right?
But I really didn't expect him to be like on the comms through that whole second half. So that was actually like quite a bit of Q for me. I was very happy. So many things I'm happy about with Q. Well, they made him gay. Love that.
Yeah.
Ben Whishaw is also gay. So like, I like when characters get to play.
Still made him gay in that Hollywood blockbuster movie way where he's like, a man's coming over for dinner.
Doesn't come over.
We don't know what that means. You can imply that he's gay, but we never say gay, and he's not in a relationship, and he never kisses anyone, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, not even like my established boyfriend, like a first date. And I'm like, at least make it like his established
He never
boyfriend.
even says date.
No, he says he's coming over in
for
20
dinner.
minutes. It could be his dad.
Yeah, it really, yeah.
He could be trying to impress his dad with a nice dinner.
Yeah,
it's clearly a date. But
it's clearly a date.
It's the most you're getting from a
He's a gay
Bond
character.
movie.
We all know he's a gay character, but I just want a movie to have the fucking courage a blockbuster movie to have the courage to be like, this man has a boyfriend. Look at him kiss a man. Everything's going to be okay.
And we're cool with it, and it's not a big deal. It's so much not a big deal. We showed him kissing a man. Or even a photo on the mantle of you and your boyfriend.
I'd take that.
I'd take a photo on the mantle. And also, James, you're such a dick for drinking his wine. Let him have a nice date.
Let him have a nice date.
You treat him like he is an enemy.
Yeah.
You treat poor Q like he's done something to you, and he's only ever helped you. And you're like, I'm going to fuck up this man's date and drink all his wine. And like, if you showed up for a first date with Q and fucking Daniel Craig's James Bond was there, that's weird.
Right.
That's just like, oh, there's definitely, because James's date definitely way hotter than whoever's there for that date. I don't care who you're going on a date with. It's going to be Daniel Craig. Weird energy, no matter what. But Q was delightful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Q actually had a ton of callbacks that I think you only catch if you're a big Q head like myself, which was really, really fun. I'm going to go through them just for me.
Lay it on me.
Just for me.
You know, the Q heads, what you all call yourselves.
The Q heads. Me, two other people.
Right.
In Skyfall, he says, I can do more in my pajamas at home than you can do a week in the field. And then they pull him onto a plane in his pajamas, which I think was very funny. That's why he's in his pajamas.
Okay, I was wondering why he was in his pajamas.
I think it's a callback to that line. I don't see any other reason. Also in Skyfall, they say he's afraid to fly, but he is on the plane in this. So I guess he got over that.
Okay.
Very weird line. And then I think the biggest growth he had was when they give him the USB, he's like, he almost puts it in his computer that's hooked into everything, and then he puts it in the computer that's not hooked into anything, because in Skyfall, that's how Silva got out.
Yeah.
Q put the computer directly into the system, and a virus got in, and he was like, wait, I've learned to clean you gotta clean a USB
Hold on. Yeah.
before you put it in the system. So many growths for Q.
I love it. Love it.
I love it for me.
That is some attention to Q detail. And this has been Q-Tips with
Q-Tips?
Diana McCall.
New podcast coming. Q-Tips. There will be one episode. It was this.
We just released that 1 minute to 3 minute clip.
Thank you for listening to Q-Tips. I'll be here never again. There won't be another Bond for at least 5 years.
It will be a minute. Yeah. So let's go back to the good movie.
The good movie.
The good movie. Opening action scene was good. Like Q, I liked Q. He was in the bad movie. Let's be real. He was cute and fun. He was making the bad movie good.
The date part was in the good movie.
The date part was in the good movie.
But you're right.
Yeah.
He's mostly in the bad.
Yeah, I did like this, like, James kind of trying to figure out who he can trust. Is Spectre back? What is going on? Trip to Cuba, betrayal. I liked this whole section of the movie.
I also liked this whole section. We need to talk about Jeffrey Wright's character, Felix Leiter.
Yeah, the Felix
breaking
of it all.
my heart.
Absolutely breaking my heart. Like, such a true friend and a light in James's life, and, like, lovely to see, and someone who understands James without trying to change him as well.
Yeah, someone who James can trust, like, not like implicitly, but enough.
Yeah.
Not like someone who would be like, Felix would never betray me. I don't think he'd say that, but he's like, I do trust Felix.
Yeah.
Like, I trust that this is a mission that is worth doing and that he genuinely needs my help on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he trusts him enough. Jeffrey Wright crushes this. And also the movie is very respectful to Felix. I will say the one thing I'm very disappointed about is the cigar never has a callback after Felix dies.
Okay.
There's like 3 lines about a cigar for Felix, a cigar for Felix, and then Felix dies, and like James never like smokes it or anything.
Interesting.
Which I would have liked as like a goodbye to Felix.
Yeah.
But the movie is incredibly respectful. I love when he tells M that Felix is dead, and even M kind of deflates. Like, this man was clearly so respected, and like everyone knew that Bond liked him. And then the line when he killed Logan Ash of like, you killed my brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in reference to Felix and not his brother.
Blofeld,
not
yeah.
Blofeld. That was
Wonderful
nice.
reveal.
That was nice.
Yeah. So everything about Felix is his death is real good.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Like looking after one another, and like, I think that I like the theme of this first movie too, because part of the reason why there's 2 different movies here, and it's not just because there is a jarring change in who the villain is and a return of Madeline, and now it's about family and something completely different, which we'll get into in a minute. But this first movie is all about secrets. As we kind of touched on earlier, where it is this like we're all keeping secrets. It's this celebration of like burning secrets, and Madeline's like, you need to let go of yours. I have mine. I'm letting go of mine. And then it is this like Felix saying we all have them, and it's Paloma, the Cuban agent, has hers, and it's what keeps her alive. And I think that there is a theme in this first half of the movie that secrets aren't inherently bad, which I actually think is a very healthy thing. Like, obviously, some secrets, and the truth can set you free, and some secrets can kill you. But it's also perfectly healthy and fine to not be an open book to everyone all of the time. Like, if James is not completely closed off to Madeline or wrecked because of his past with Vesper, if she doesn't know everything about it, that's fine. That's his story to tell. Like, he doesn't owe you that.
Yeah, that was a private experience he had with the woman he loved. That can be just for him.
And like, Madeline has her childhood trauma as well. And like, that's supposed to be like her secret. And it's okay that she has that secret. And I think that like everyone has these secrets, and when they have them, it helps them survive. It is a survival mechanism to keep a certain secret to a certain degree. And I think it's actually a relatively mentally healthy approach for the first half of the movie until the second movie, when it becomes like actually, no, forget that. Forget that whole theme.
Well, especially because some secrets don't apply to everybody. Like, you don't need to tell everyone all your business. Like, you should reveal secrets that apply to the person that you're with. Like, Madeline doesn't have to tell him about the man in the mask until it's revealed that he's the new villain. And then it is relevant, and he does need to know. But until that, he has no right to know about your childhood trauma if you don't want to tell him, if you feel more comfortable not sharing it.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm done with that, I've buried it.
And it doesn't harm either one of you, or it's not holding either one of you back emotionally, mentally, or in your life and happiness.
Yeah, I feel like we say secrets are bad, but also this isn't a superhero movie per se, but every superhero movie is Spider-Man hides his identity, or like superheroes hide their identity, which is like a big secret that you're not supposed to share. Like, that's for you. This is the thing I do for me. And you can absolutely have secrets. We don't know everything about Felix.
Yeah. And and that's the other thing that like I think that the first half of this movie is saying that like secrets can be healthy, is that these two have a healthy relationship because they respect one another's secrets. It is this like mutual understanding that it's like we can have a relationship through that if it's not immediately necessary. Yeah,
I'll go with that.
Yeah, so I think there's some nice things to be said about secrets within the first half of this movie.
That's fun. And also R.I.P. Felix.
R.I.P. Felix, phenomenal character, gets a good death, a powerful death, and I like it as well.
It was a good death. It really felt like, to me, more than James dying, that felt like the end of the Daniel Craig era, because he's the only holdover from the first movie.
Yeah.
Like, M's gone, Q and Moneypenny weren't in the first movie. Right. Vesper's long gone. Like, I think he is the only thing other than Daniel Craig from Casino Royale. Spectre's been wiped out.
Yeah?
So, to me, the death of Felix was the death of this franchise.
Damn.
More than James dying.
That's very interesting.
I'm like, this movie's over now.
That they both have to die together. They're both this old guard of spy as well. It might be a death of an era of spy as well.
Maybe a death of an era of spy. To me, it was more just the death of everything James knows. Is gone. Like, who he was has been entirely wiped out, and he can't be this new man.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I like that. I really like that perspective.
That was my perspective on Jeffrey Wright's Felix.
Okay. I would say one confusing part of this movie for me was the eye. I didn't understand the mechanical eye. You had to point it out to me afterwards that it was like...
There's two mechanical
eyes. So, like, obviously the one villain, the henchman, Cyclops, as they refer to him, has one eye and one mechanical eye that is sending a signal elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he's wearing it, and sometimes, like, at the party, it's on a little pillow for a weird fuck reason.
And that's his eye!
He has that in his body sometimes.
Like, Blofeld doesn't know it's on a pillow.
You could have just had it in him.
Just walking around.
There's a lot of stupid stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Blofeld is a dramatic little bitch.
So apparently Blofeld has a mechanical eye while he's in prison?
Yeah, they didn't catch it when they put him in prison, that he already had a bionic eye.
Gotcha. And then, they just never explain that on camera in the movie.
They they like really had a throwaway line of Blofeld had a bionic eye, but like it almost sounds like they got Cyclopses. Like they do not make it clear enough. You don't see it happen.
Yeah,
There's
and then
not-
Blofeld's just missing an eye next time we see him, and it's like, I guess,
but at the same time, like his eye got injured in the Spectre explosion. So I'm like, did he lose an eye in Spectre or just get a scar? Like,
yeah.
Like, and
Same.
that's probably when he got the bionic eye. He probably did lose an eye in that explosion. But like, I didn't remember it well enough to say yes or no whether he had a full eye in the end of Spectre
Right.
or whether it was gone. So yeah, it was a little unclear.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. It was a little unclear. I still think it is insane. Some of the bad stuff from Spectre that carries over that they want us to care about in this movie, like the romance between Madeline is one, but the fact that Blofeld is his brother, and like no one addresses it, and it's not a thing.
There's one fun line when he kills Blofeld with the nanobites, and Q's like, it's a good thing he was only your adopted brother, because it would have killed James if they were blood brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know why that tickled me, of like, that is the silliest reason to bring up their brothers in this whole movie.
The dumbest reason. And like we have the good Felix callback at the end, I guess. But it's still insane that they even call him Blofeld. Like that is one of the things that frustrate me so much, is that James thought this dude was dead. That's why he stayed off the government radar for so long. And he was like, I decided to go by the evil name, Blofeld. It's an alias, which it means it's not your legal name. And once the government finds and arrests you, they would probably call you by the legal name that you pretended was dead to avoid the government. Like they would, like if tomorrow, if I faked my own death and I was like, I'm now Dr. Dangerous, and then the Canadian government arrested me, and forever they were like, he's Dr. Dangerous. We just can't fucking call him anything else. That's this dude's name now.
His preferred name is Dr. Dangerous.
We
and
have to
respect
call him
that.
Dr. Dangerous.
I mean, the media would definitely still call you Dr. Dangerous. I even might call you Dr. Dangerous, my love. I think that's kind of cool.
Some people
But
would choose to because it's fun.
The police would call you Andrew Ivan.
The government,
The judge,
the guards
the judge,
at the police, at
the judge wouldn't say,
prison.
Dr. Dangerous, you are committed to prison, gavel, gavel, gavel.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
would say, Andrew Ivan, you're going to jail.
Yeah,
Gavel,
guards
gavel,
wouldn't be
gavel.
like, Dr. Dangerous, here's your food today.
They might say it sarcastically.
Maybe. So stupid that anyone even calls him Blofeld. It's a dumb villain name he made up to fake his own death.
I get what you're saying.
It is insane.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would like to very quickly go to Trope Corner. I should have gone to Trope Corner earlier.
Lay it on me.
But I need to go to Trope Corner about this one thing. It's a thing that bothers me in movies. It is the swallowing of USB drives.
Oh, okay. That's regular enough that it's a trope.
I mean, Incredible Hulk,
Okay.
and that was only a month ago.
Yeah.
This guy swallows it.
Yeah.
So
happens.
I
It
think
happens.
swallowing
That's fair.
USB drives happens.
That is fair. It happens.
And it doesn't bother me that it happens. It bothers me when they don't put a cap on the USB drive.
Right.
I've never seen them. Sometimes it's one of those ones that like pulls in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you've pulled it in, your stomach acids are going on the top.
Yeah.
Unless you have a cap on the USB drive.
You do want a cap on there.
So my trope corner is I don't mind when people swallow USB drives. I do mind when there's not a cap on it, because then you have destroyed your data for sure. Your stomach acids are up in there.
Probably will fuck it up a little bit. I agree with you there. Visually, if you don't see the exposed USB part, it just looks like a Lego. Like it's just a piece of plastic a character
People know
eats.
what you just say it's a USB drive.
I agree with you, but in movies,
you
the
Incredible Hulk
visual needs to match.
You throw it to the camera and you're like, make micro sand.
Like
and it says,
SanDisk.
So SanDisk.
SanDisk.
Thank you, SanDisk.
I'm gonna swallow this SanDisk USB drive.
And I'm gonna put a lid on it.
first
Click.
swallow. Yeah.
Bothers me.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying there.
That is my trope that I am annoyed by. Swallow
it.
it all you want. Guys, you gotta put a lid on it. You gotta put a lid on it.
Just he didn't need to swallow it either.
I mean, you're gonna get patted down by those Spectre agents.
You just put it up your butt.
It's gonna get to the butt eventually.
It will,
it's
but
gonna
it's
work its way.
It's, I think, a worse ride going through and out than in a little and back out.
I mean, he was also in like a public room. He didn't have time for butt stuff.
All right.
I mean, Lucifer could have given him a little bit more of a heads up, maybe.
Lucifer.
When you got that phone call, he could have maybe had like 5 minutes to go to the bathroom and stick it up his butt.
Okay.
Or even just like the upper jaw, like behind a under your tongue.
Lucifer really did take down all of Spectre.
That's what
single-handedly.
That's why I like the first half of this movie a lot. I really like him taking down Spectre and being like, we need to find out who this guy is. He's got an incredibly powerful weapon and we don't know what he's going to do next. And the second half of this movie being like, we also don't know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
Is not as exciting as that sounds.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's killed all of Spectre so easily. His next plan must be huge.
Right.
He doesn't have a next plan.
No, he doesn't.
He hasn't worked that out.
But I think there is something inherently... And it's sad that like he becomes less of a villain the more we see of him. And it has nothing to do, again, with Rami Malek's performance, which is great. But the more we see him, the less powerful he becomes. Because in that first mysterious half, there is something scary about a man who's taking down your villains, even though the enemy of your enemy should be your friend. But someone who is taking down your villains with a level of ruthless power and calculation, doing what you want and have been trying to do, but cold, calculated, and with success is scary. Like, that's a boogeyman type of situation. And that is very intimidating. And the more they reveal, the less intimidating it becomes. Because it's just a guy using stolen technology that he took from you.
Yeah, it is. That is true. But like his amount of information and his amount of infiltration is very cool as well. Like they walked into that Spectre ballroom and Ana de Armas and Bond went, ooh, a lot of Spectre people here. And I'm like, when did you didn't even know who Spectre was till the last movie. What do you mean a lot of Spectre people here? Like,
yeah,
it's so much more impressive that Lucifer knows who all these people are and has samples of their DNA. And like, that's
right.
Infiltration. Like,
yeah. Even though I guess MI6 was the ones who had samples of all of their DNA. Because he stole the DNA sample from MI6.
Oh, yeah. So I guess maybe they had targeted all these people and figured out who Spectre was for the most part. But it still seemed very impressive.
Interesting. Okay.
Very impressive. I think we need to talk about this child.
All right, let's go in for it. I think this is the last big thing we need to talk about. Let's talk about the baby.
Baby ruined this movie.
Absolutely ruins the movie.
Baby wrecked this movie so hard. This movie was so good until that baby showed up. And honestly, the baby's a good actress.
Yeah.
Not mad at
the actual, the child's doing fine.
Human person who played this baby.
Yeah.
Not mad.
Doing fine.
The movie? For making this movie for an hour and a half about a baby? Oh my God, I'm furious.
It throws the whole movie in the trash. It is
Garbage.
A completely different theme, one that James has never cared about, the Bond franchise has never cared about, us as an audience don't give one fuck about.
Don't give a damn. Your villain's got a bomb that can kill anyone in the world.
There are implications of genocide at times.
But there's a baby.
There's a French baby that James does not speak French to. James has literally never spoken a word to. Yeah. James does not want this baby. I'm going to flat out say, I don't know if it was intentional or if Daniel Craig doesn't like kids, but there are flat out moments where James looks at that baby and I feel like either him or Craig are thinking, I do not want to be in a room with the child right now. Someone get this baby away from me.
I think that is fully... no, Daniel Craig loves his baby.
Oh, Daniel Craig has a child?
Daniel Craig has a child. Oh, because he's got one of those, like, Bjorns.
Oh, the baby Bjorns, yeah.
Baby Bjorns. And, like, they've photographed him, like, walking, like, just giving his baby, like, head kisses. He loves his actual baby.
Oh, that's great.
So he's a great dad.
Okay. James is a character, I think. And maybe Daniel knows that and is portraying it as such.
Hates this baby. And here's what I got to say about this baby. So many things. But first off, Madeline lies to him and says, it's not your baby. And this is how that conversation should have gone. Hear me out. Madeline is like, don't worry, she's not yours. And then James should have said, of course she's not mine. My testicles were destroyed.
Yes.
I could never have a child. I was in the hospital for several weeks for testicle reconstruction, and there's no way I still create semen.
They're all artificial. It's mostly artificial down there.
And why wouldn't I have a vasectomy? I have sex with so many millions of women as my job. He definitely either lost his ability to have kids in Casino Royale or had a willing vasectomy at some point.
Yes.
This is not his baby.
He has, at this point in the franchise, had, even outside of ball torture, he's had ball torture. Extensive. Ball torture, ball reconstruction, at least 4 different kinds of blood-altering nanobites in his body that are, like, weirdly, wildly experimental shit. Like, his body is a fucking petri dish of experiments. It is bananas inside there. There's no way.
There's no way. Yeah, at the end when Madeline's like, she does have your eyes, I'm like, absolutely not. I don't know who you had sex with after you got on that train.
But they look just like James.
They look just like
I'll say that.
You had a rebound with a real hot boy who looked like James Bond, and this is not his kid.
What I have to say about this is lies aren't twists. Lies aren't twists. Lies aren't, we've said it a million times. It is writing 101. Lies aren't twists. The second this kid walks out, her first line of dialogue, as you mentioned, it is not your child.
Don't worry, it's not
your child. And James goes, okay.
Great. Wonderful.
And that's it. That's it. It's over. Because the second the kid walks out, we as an audience, everyone is like, oh, so this is James's child? And the movie has to be like, no, it is not the obvious thing. Do not worry. We are not doing the obvious, hacky, cliche plot. It is not his child.
Don't worry. Madeline is a strong woman who moved on and met another man and doesn't need James at all.
And then for the audacity to later in the movie be like, it is his child. Did we trick you? No, you lied.
No, we thought it was his child.
It was a stupidly obvious thing. So stupidly obvious, the literal second you introduced it, you as a movie had to be like, no, please, no one leave the theater. It's not the dumb obvious thing. And then later you reveal it's the dumb obvious thing. That's not a reveal. That's nothing. That's less than nothing. That is the dumbest possible plot point. I'm so furious over, like, having the child is one thing, but to be like, here's the child, it's obvious, we're going to lie to you, then we'll tell you the truth. Was that a cool reveal? It obviously wasn't. This is Lost all over again. To be like, is it purgatory? And everyone being like, calm down. It's definitely not the dumb obvious thing. And then later being like, actually, we have no idea what else to do. But at least that was something that 7 years later, a different team of writers had to resolve. This was one person writing a thing in a sit down. Figure it out as you're doing it.
I absolutely agree. Lies aren't twists. Like, you saw me actually physically celebrate when she was like, it's not your kid. I'm like, oh, thank God. James isn't going to be saddled with this goddamn kid if he doesn't want to. He can choose to at the end probably, but like, it's not his. Great. And then the goddamn, and also even above the lies aren't twists, even this whole like, it is yours, it isn't yours, whatever. This kid still ruins the movie. Mm-hmm. Because this is a PG movie. I checked the rating before we went to it. As soon as this kid is introduced, I'm like, none of these action scenes are going to be any good now. Because you put like a 2-year-old kid in a car, I'm like, well, this chase scene's going to suck. And it did. That chase scene was no good because you can't fucking hit your car off stuff or shoot a gun because there's a kid in the car.
Right.
That chase scene was garbage. I hated it. You're in a scene where it's like a showdown with Lucifer and James Bond. Like, he's like, I'm going to kill this kid. I'm like, you're not.
You're not going to
kill a kid. You might kill Madeline. If Madeline was in here,
sure,
I'd believe you'd kill Madeline. A kid's not going to die in this PG-rated movie, no matter what. There's absolutely no way. So literally everything with the kid absolutely ruined the tension of every single scene she was in. I despised her presence.
Yeah.
And existence.
It's a really stupid idea.
And then Lucifer is like obsessed with Madeline and the kid and wants them all of a sudden, but also doesn't give a shit about them at all.
And then the second like the kid stops being a plot device and like bites Lucifer's like,
oh, kids suck.
Like, I don't really actually, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, there was no motivation for me to ever have cared about having a child or any of this. Like, there's no purpose to it. Yeah. There's just no purpose.
And he's not like James Bond's direct enemy. He doesn't want to steal James's family, which I think would be like kind of like a Blofeld kind of motivation of like, I'm going to steal your family, James. I'm going to brainwash them or whatever. I'll raise your daughter as my own and she won't know about you. Like, that's like a real dick move if you hate James Bond. But Lucifer's just like, oh, hey, James, we both hate Spectre. We should be friends. I'm going to steal your family. And like, no, man, you can't steal my family. I don't even think I really want them, it seems.
I don't think so. I do not think so.
This movie suddenly becoming about James's family and not about the villain who has missiles and nanotechnology that can kill anyone he wants in the world is the worst thing in this movie by a million miles.
Yeah, and it waters down every character. Like, absolutely everyone. Like, the new 007, Lashawna Lynch as the new 007. Kicks ass, is fantastic.
She's great.
Really badass in the whole silo Poison Island invasion scene. And then the second is introduced to a child. The movie's like, she's motherly too. Everyone calm down. She's basically a mom.
Why would she take the family off the island and not James?
And yeah.
You think James would be like, I trust my family with you, instead of being like, I'm getting them the hell out of here. You blow this place up.
Or the new 007 being like, I'm the current active duty agent and the one you leave with your family. I'm actually in charge of this mission?
Yeah, that's the only time the movie felt very sexist to me.
Yeah, and then when it cuts to them, they just stopped on another, they didn't go to home base. They just stopped on another kind of cute island.
Like a nice one not made of poison?
To have like a nice afternoon where Madeline's having the phone call with James and the new 007, the I kick dudes off of scaffolding and a poison one, is like, hey, sweetie, you want to look at rocks? Let's go look at rocks.
Instead of just leaving them there.
Yeah, and being
Going
like,
back to
I gotta go, I'm working today.
I'm on the clock, lady. I'm not a babysitter. And also, like, fucking Madeline can kick ass too. She just needed to get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disrespectful to Lashawna Lynch. That
Super
ending.
disrespectful.
Also, like, they kept trying to create tension in the weirdest ways. Like, at one point, Bond is like, we gotta blow this place up. It's full of bombs. And M is like, ooh, we'd have to explain it to, like, America and China. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Explain it.
Yeah.
Like, why is it a secret? We're not affiliated with this island.
Yeah,
We didn't put the bombs here. Just tell them it's full of bombs. I fixed diplomacy. Diplomacy is tell China and America this island is full of bombs.
Yeah, it was Russia and Japan.
Russia and Japan, sorry.
But, and it's a false tension because it's resolved off screen to be like, James, we can't. What about Japan and Russia? And James is like, what about who gives a shit? And then like 3 scenes later, M is like, all right, let's just not bring up Japan and China anymore. We haven't resolved that issue. We haven't figured out my complaints, but fuck the whole thing.
And there's no missile on a timer that's going to go out. There's nothing you're trying to stop. Rami Malek has left. He has no plan. There is no reason to bomb it before you can get off. Like, all of the men have left.
Yeah.
It is an abandoned poison factory. No missile is going off. They try to create this tension that they then give up on, even with Q up in the air. They're like, oh, I'm getting buzzed by planes and they might shoot me down. But then that just goes away as well. Like, they had absolutely no idea how to build tension in the death of James Bond, which is an
Which should be the
actual
most
tragedy.
obviously tense thing possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should be the greatest buildup of a death of all time. Like, a missile's going to go off that will kill millions of people. We got to kill it right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
But no missile even going off. It's just like, it'd be nice if we did it right now.
I guess it would be nice.
Yeah, I guess we're in a rush. I got to get home. Except I don't.
I think their big thing was that they're like, there's ships coming.
Okay.
Exactly.
Arrest them.
Yeah, shoot at the ships.
Shoot at them. Do whatever you got to do. You got boats?
Yeah, shoot at the ships, then go in and collect evidence and James, and then blow up the island.
You have a boat full of missiles right there that shoots the missile out.
Shoot the boats. Yeah, shoot the boats.
There's so
Because they
many.
even show the boats at a couple times, and it's like cargo craters, a fucking tugboat. Like, they're not battleships that are coming to collect the poisons.
And they're also not like power boats. Like, we're going to be able to catch them.
Yeah.
We can see them slowly leaving the island, even if they are full of poisons.
100%.
We're gonna be able to be like, hey, China, stop that guy. And China's gonna be like, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that, like, this is a contested island between Russia and China. Tell them to start bombing the ships that are going to your contested island. Let them bomb it to hell. What is any of this?
I don't care who bombs it.
I don't care about Poison Island.
I don't care about Poison
I
Island.
do not care about Poison Island.
Poison Island has no goals. Therefore, I don't care if we blow it up.
Yes, absolutely.
Poison Island needs a goal.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, James's death is so underwhelming.
Yeah,
I felt nothing.
Very underwhelming, and I guess the nanotechnology has already killed everyone it's programmed for. Because that's the other big plot point, is that Q keeps being like, there's no way to fully remove it from your blood forever. Like, once it's in you, everyone who was at that Spectre funeral as well, they said, like, the family of that Spectre person died. They all have it, and it's incurable. But it's completely, like, dormant and doesn't do any harm unless it comes in contact with a target. Was it programmed for other targets? Like, there are human beings, probably at this point, the thousands. Like, it is an invisible infection that does no harm. But there are thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of humans by the end of the week who have murder nanotech in their body waiting to attack someone. And it may never do it, but it's out there. And, like, that's not a plot point as well?
All Q keeps saying is that, like, it is absolutely unremovable, just so James will have, like, a final, like, finality to the fact that he can't touch his family again. But, like,
Right.
you know, give Q a week.
Give them, like, keep hope alive.
Yeah, don't be like, how could there absolutely be no way? Are they not made of metal? Are they not, like... Is there not, like, you know, shoot some bleach into yourself, take some horse medicine, whatever you got, or something better than that, obviously.
Yeah, not the dumb things.
Not the dumb things. Make a vaccine with scientists over the course of a year.
Do that.
I'm sure we can wipe nanobots out of people. Like, would not an EM Pulse have done it? I feel like his watch should have killed them. They're machines.
That's a great point.
They're machines, and you're wearing an EMP watch.
They'll probably just be like, they're EMP shielded, James, or whatever.
They're microscopic.
They're shielded. Don't worry. You can't do it. They're shielded.
An EMP would absolutely kill them.
I agree with you. An EMP could
They would still be there, but they wouldn't be active.
A blood transfusion.
A blood transfusion. Great idea.
Get smaller, better nanobots to go in and fight the other nanobots. Let's do it.
That's asking for trouble. No, babe. No. I'm not having war in the Diana.
Okay, all right. Then we bring in snakes to get rid of the mice. And then we keep going, obviously.
So you actually want to inject people with microchips?
Yes, in this scenario.
To
battle the other microchips.
To battle the microchips.
How about this? We have a James Bond movie. Everybody in the cast... They get in a special ship that shrinks them down, all right? They go into James's bloodstream. They have to battle the nanobots.
I mean, I'd watch it.
I would
It's as reasonable as I have poisons and these nanotech and mind control tea.
Yeah.
It's as reasonable as that.
There's a lot going on. It feels, oddly enough, like this whole, like, nanotech, it kills bloodline thing. It feels very reminiscent to Metal Gear Solid, a video game from PlayStation 1 that many game players will know. But there was a thing called Fox Dye, which was a DNA-targeted poison that was injected into the main character who ends up on an island that they need to blow up because there's a weapon on there and is just permanently infected with it. And it's like, who is this to target? And that is... But it's done better in that than it is in this movie.
In the show Dark Angel, they also do this, where Jessica Alba is infected with a thing that will only kill her love interest.
Of course,
Michael Weatherly. So they're in love. They can never touch because her touch would kill him.
Okay.
But they still hang out all the time, which is wild.
In the video game Metal Gear Solid, it is programmed to affect this guy's clone. But it doesn't affect Solid Snake.
But he's a clone.
That's what I'm saying. And the game ends, and I remember being frustrated and impressed by this because it's a Hideo Kojima game, and it's very like, let's answer logical questions with poetry, which ironically enough, later in Death Stranding, which Lea Seydoux is a major character in.
Oh, she would fit perfectly there.
It is perfectly in that one when Norman Reedus' character will be like, does the rain send us back in time? And then like Lea Seydoux will be like, does thoughts and memories send us back through time? Is everything nothing but memories of time that has passed? And it's like, okay, that didn't answer the question, but that's fine. But in the video game Metal Gear Solid, it's like, well, if this was injected in me to kill my clone, am I gonna die soon? And then someone replies with, what is life other than the choice to live? You have to live life and then live. Choose to live, Snake. And that's the reply to whether or not a poison will kill you.
Did Snake have no time to die?
Snake had no time to die in that one.
Okay. So yeah. Snake had no time to die. James had no time to die.
You have to choose life and live is the response to, will this poison murder kill me?
Oof.
Anyway. That was still better than the poison murder of the end. What a wild ending to this franchise movie series, Daniel Craig.
To give Bond a kid, which I'm fairly certain that Bonds have not done before, and to kill James, which I'm fairly certain they haven't done before, sounds like it should be groundbreaking, but it just sucked.
It was just boring.
It was boring as hell. I want to see James fight to survive.
Yeah.
Like, you got a family. I don't care if you can never touch them again.
Yeah.
Get the fuck off the island.
And James's theme and battle throughout all of these movies was, can I be close to someone? It was always the question of, can I... Why is that funny?
Just the theme is, can I be close to someone? And then he got infected with a virus that was like, no, you cannot physically be close to someone.
And that's the other thing. I actually think that there could have been something relevant to say with that, but they don't do it. But his whole thing has been, can I be close to someone without killing them? And then literally he gets the virus that makes sure that you can't get close. It is the literal personification of the struggle that he's dealt with throughout 6 movies, which is, can I be close to someone without killing them? And it's always been the question of, can I love, and am I deserving of love? And it was never the question of, can I start a family?
No.
And those two things can be intertwined. Family and love obviously are very closely connected, but it was more of a personal and romantic love that was always the question for James. Can I romantically, or even in terms of like friendship, even platonically, can I love and be loved without killing someone, has always been the question. So to introduce it as the like, can I start a family? That's not anything. That's not a question James has ever asked.
No.
Or a theme these movies have ever implied.
No, it came out of nowhere, and not in a way that you're like, oh, I never thought of James like that. It was just like, this isn't what we've been building to for 5 movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
All right, well, let's go in for the close, shall we?
I will close.
Let's ask the final question of, what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we discussed, what would you change about this movie if you could change anything? But before we do ask the final question, we also want to thank our final sponsor of this week's episode. It is our good friends over at Virtual Game Night.
Oh, we love Virtual Game Night.
We've mentioned them before on the podcast. We'll mention them again because we do sincerely love Virtual Game Night. What Virtual Game Night is, it is essentially a pub trivia night / game show that you can play virtually over Zoom with your friends, your loved ones, your family, your coworkers, whatever you have going on in your life. And it's a great way to spice up those virtual calls, and it's a lot of fun. It's way better than any pub trivia I've ever been to.
Absolutely.
It's way better than any like physical game night I've ever had in person. It is TV production quality, all just delivered right into your home.
Yeah, you have a live MC, Ollie, who's organizing everything. You do feel like you're on a game show in a very unstressful, fun way. And it's for a huge amount of people. It can be 2 to 1,000 players. It's for a small group, it's for your family, or it's for a corporate event. Anyone can have a great time at a virtual game night, and it's so easy. Like, all the organization of a fun night for a big group of people over Zoom is taken off your hands.
It's just done for you.
Virtual Game Night has it all. You play on your phone, and all the scores come up. It's all independent. It's all incredibly well done.
Yeah.
Works real fast. So much fun. And such a variety of games.
Yeah,
This
lots
is
of
not
different.
just straight trivia.
It's for everyone. It is for everyone.
There is a category for everyone.
Yeah, there's emoji game where like you have to guess what the answer is because it's spelled out for you in emoji. Like pattern recognition. There was one with like music videos as well that was a really fun guessing game. But it was something that like it triggers a different part of the brain in each category. So like it's good for an eclectic group as well. But it can also be customized for if you're having a holiday party for your company or brand or whatever you have going on. So it has a variety, but it can also be customized, which is cool.
Absolutely. And Virtual Game Night has hosted games from some of the world's best-known companies, including, get this, Adobe, Ford, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Bank of America, and even finest institutions like MIT, Yale, and Harvard. They've all done a virtual game night, and you can too.
And even dumb institutions like us at the From Superheroes Network, we've done them for our holiday parties. We've had a terrific time doing it.
We've had several virtual game nights, so whatever size your family or a company, you can have a great time.
And I know things are starting to like open up a little bit more now. Maybe this will be the last big virtual gathering that you have. But even as things are opening up more, it's so great for corporate parties because I found that like even with offices reopening, more people are working remotely. Like people who would have an in-person holiday party like 2 or 3 years ago, now suddenly there are 6 coworkers who actually work in different cities or like very far apart who want to do a virtual gathering, even if you're allowed or feel safe to get together physically. So it's nice. And this is going to be your last chance to play because Virtual Game Night is taking bookings through December 23rd, 2021 only. So it's your last chance. So turn a virtual gathering into a virtual game night today by visiting virtualgamenight.com. patreon.com/superhero and use promo code superhero100 to take $100 off the price of any game. So remember, the games must end December 23rd, 2021. So join over 17,000 other players who have livened up their Zoom calls by making your next and hopefully last virtual event a virtual game night at virtualgamenight.live/superhero. And don't forget to enter code superhero100 to receive a $100 credit toward the price of any game night package. And thank you, Virtual Game Night, for your support.
Thank you, Virtual Game Night.
And before we get into what we would change, we will remind you, as we do every week, take a second, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addicts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun. Let us know on any, wherever you do it. 5 stars, subscribe. It helps us out so much.
Take a few minutes, do it for a few of the podcasts you love. It's super easy, super helpful. And if you want to get bonus content from us, check us out over on our Patreon. Patreon's a monthly subscription service where you subscribe at whatever you can afford. $1 really helps, even if you're kicking in $1. You get some cool bonuses at $1. 1, 2, 5, 10. At the $10 level, you become a hero level patron, which means you get a bonus episode of this podcast every single month. The bonus episode for this month is Cowboys versus Aliens, some more Daniel Craig going on over on the Patreon channel. That will be up shortly. So head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That's patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And head over there, have a look around. If it's in the budget, kick in what you can. Even $1 makes a world of difference and keeps this network going and floating. And you're always going to get cool bonuses. And you can cancel, unsubscribe. You can change your donation level if your financials change at any time. Patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And thank you to our current and future patrons.
Thanks, patrons.
And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. Diana, what would you change?
My big change is I'm actually going to keep the baby.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I know you're shocked.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to keep the baby. But the baby and Madeline are not kidnapped. Lucifer doesn't give a shit about them. They're not kidnapped, but he does have like the vial thing about like to kill Madeline and the kid. So then James and 007, they both go to the island. He's actually got like a plan. The missiles are going to go off soon. And they're going to kill somebody?
Okay.
I don't even care who. They're going to kill somebody.
Sure.
He hates Japan and Russia. I don't know.
Right.
Don't like my neighbors. They're loud. So they're going to go off. There's a timer. You actually have to get to the timer. James does not die in my version. James does not die. He still gets infected with the nanobots. And he cannot go back to his family. So he is alive, but cannot go back to them. And has to, but they are alive. And he has to let them go, and he keeps being James Bond. And to go into your message of can I love someone romantically or platonically and have them survive and love me back, I would like it if James realized that the MI6 team is his family. Because M, Moneypenny, and Q have done nothing but support him for 3 movies. They save his life time and time again. He comes to them for favors. They bring him information. They cover for him. I think more than Madeline and this kid, MI6 is James Bond's family. They have not betrayed him. They lie to M sometimes. They lie to the prime minister for him. They help him with every mission. They are the people he trusted and the people who I emotionally connected with when James died. I didn't care about Madeline and the kid, but when they showed Q and Moneypenny, I actually felt something. Because they've been with James for 3 movies. They've been in battles with James. They've literally fought next to him. So I would like to see this family, he walks away and feels sad about it, but embrace the MI6 crew as more important to him and people who have survived with him and understand him. That's my take on where I would like No Time to Die to have gone.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah, I always support a good idea of found family. I love the themes of found family.
You don't need to literally find a baby for a found family.
Yeah. For someone you haven't seen in a few years to be like, here's a 5-year-old, is this anything? That is way. I mean, obviously, if you're in a scenario like that in real life, that is life-changing.
It is life-changing.
But I think people who've loved you unconditionally for a long time are as much your family.
Yeah, and so I feel like MI6 should have been his family. They've done a lot for him, and that's where he lives. That's what he lives for. So yeah, that's my change. Andrew, what's your change?
My change is that I agree with you on. I don't think we need the baby. I think we
Totally
just
fine.
gone.
Oh my god, I wasn't
it has
fighting
no
for
theme.
the baby.
Yeah, I get it. I don't think we need the baby.
I wanted to keep the baby so we could walk away from it. Basically, I have a great reason to never see this baby.
I agree with you. James should be. We can continue the James is air quote poisoned or nanobotted so that he can't touch Madeline. But I think that should have happened in Cuba. So hear me out. And this is what I actually thought, where I thought the movie was going. So in my version, it would be you change it a little bit that he doesn't abandon Madeline on the train. Like after he sees that they're trying to shoot her, he's like, I don't know why they're trying to like break us apart or what their big plan is, right? He goes on the mission to Cuba. He continues his, he has a relationship with Madeline. Maybe Madeline comes or whatever, but he's on the mission to Cuba. He gets in that room. The gas comes. It kills everyone in Spectre. The gas has been programmed to kill every member of Spectre and every member of Spectre's family. And they even say that.
It would kill her.
It should kill. Like, I guess the implication is that Lucifer updated the list of DNA to be like, make sure Mr. White's not on there because he's deceased. I don't want to waste any kilobytes on a deceased person's DNA.
I mean, those things can only hold so many kilobytes. They are full of TXT files. I don't know if you noticed that.
It was TXT files.
They were very small files.
But either way, it was a list of everyone who's ever worked for Spectre. And it kills them and anyone who's a blood relative, which would include
Madeline.
Mr. White and his daughter, Madeline. So once Bond gets hit with that, he is now a walking virus that will kill Spectre agents, including his adopted brother / enemy Blofeld, and
his love interest.
His love interest. Immediate, and I thought that's where the movie was going. As soon as they exposited that, they're like, James can now not touch a member of Spectre or he'll kill them. And I'm like, fuck, he can't touch Madeline. But then he does, and it's no problem. But then they reintroduce that plot point at the end. Keep that plot point early. So right there in Cuba, James can no longer touch Blofeld or Madeline, and he knows it. But he's not honest with them. And that secret is actually what he pushes away Madeline. And that secret is what literally and metaphorically keeps her safe. And I think that is the tragic burden of Bond that he realizes throughout this movie is that it's not necessarily that secrets are bad. It's that secrets are a burden, but it's a burden he chooses to carry to keep the people in his life safe. So I think that's the theme of this series of Daniel Craig's Bond, which is that, like, can he love? And he can, and maybe does deserve it, but he chooses to forego that option to protect the people that he loves. So I think choice, having an active protagonist who's involved, is way more interesting than just someone showing up, cut to 5 years later, and someone showing up and be like, by the way, you have a baby. Now let's reintroduce a virus. So that's my big change. In Cuba, he gets infected. He can't touch Madeline. And then my third act change, because Poison Island is nothing, is garbage, is that the moral complication for him is that Lucifer's trying to kill Blofeld. The big action scene should be James protecting Blofeld. That's the moral complication, is that he is someone who he's going to have to protect a family member he can't touch and an enemy he disdains. So, like, he has to do his job to be like, I literally have to protect my loved ones and people I don't even like. But, like, that's the moral complication for him, which is that's why I'm better than Lucifer, is that Lucifer kills indiscriminately his enemies. Whereas James is like, I kill, but I capture when I can, and I do protect, and I do think that there are diplomacy and things that we need to respect. So I think that is the final scene, which is Lucifer and his people like poisoning or fighting their way in to kill Blofeld, and James has to protect him, and James has to push away Madeline in order for her to survive.
I think that's really fun because Christoph Waltz was better in this movie, so it would have been fun to see more of him. I do like that moral complication because James even says that when he walks in the room. He's like, oddly enough, if you give me information, I'll save your life. And that is an interesting quandary to be in.
Yeah.
Like, you're my enemy, but you're captured, so I have to protect you now.
Yeah.
Is very interesting. Yeah, I can see that. That'd be fun. And no kid, that's fun.
No kid, third act, no Poison Island. Third act is you're protecting Blofeld. Yeah.
It's fun. I don't know if it's big enough for the end of Craig as a big, like, villain plot, just protecting Blofeld. Like, if it's epic enough.
I think protecting your adoptive brother who's murdered your previous love interest while pushing your current love interest away because you cannot physically touch the ones that you love anymore, I think that that's big enough. I'm okay with him dying at the end, too.
Oh, I'd rather he didn't die. But I'm good with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun movie. I don't think it's a fun final Daniel Craig movie. So you haven't sold me on that. But, like, it's a better movie, though. Fun.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Interesting. Well, that's it.
That's going to be it. So that's it for No Time to Die. Thank you very much for listening to our Daniel Craig saga. We've done a lot of Bond, but we like most of it.
I don't know if we did. Yes.
We like Casino Royale.
We loved Casino Royale. We didn't like Spectre. And Quantum of Solace was exactly in the middle.
Yeah, I put this one the exact in the middle though.
Oh, this was
Quantum
the
of
exact
Solace is a little bit below.
Okay. I'd rather
below
watch
this.
Quantum of Solace.
It's so tight. It's so short.
It's
so
this first
short.
movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for us. We're gonna be back next week talking about the 1984 version of Dune.
Oh my goodness, I've never seen it.
Neither have I.
Oh, boy.
So we're gonna be talking about Dune next week on the podcast. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on Twitter at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana.
And you can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.